Right then, ladies and gents, it is that time again. It is time to try and fix someone else's screw up. So here we have a PlayStation 5, and this console here has been sent to me because it's been to another repair shop, had a HDMI port, and now it doesn't display. So apparently it was working before the damage, and then when the HDMI port was changed, it has no display. So let's first of all take a look at the port. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little bit of a nudge. Seems solid enough. Seems absolutely fine. It does appear to be a brand new port. So a little bit weird. So we're going to take a look. We're going to see first of all what's going on with it. So we're going to pair it on, and then we're going to try and fix it. But if you do like this type of content and you want to see more, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so that you're notified whenever I release a video. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you enjoy repair content but you also want to see some random crap, I'm now streaming on Twitch as well. Not just for repairs, but for other things too, like gaming and things like that, and drive-alongs and things when I'm out driving. So if you want to see random crap as well as repair content, then please check me out on Twitch. I would really appreciate it. And if you're feeling really generous, then what you can do is you can link an Amazon Prime account to Twitch. You can subscribe for free. So following me is free anyway, watching me is free, but you can become a subscriber, and that means that if you link an Amazon Prime account, you can basically subscribe to me and I'll get $2.50 for free every month. It doesn't cost you anything other than linking your Amazon Prime account and then renewing it every month, but it does really help out the channel. Alright, so as you can see here, we've got a white light, so I'm going to take a look on the TV and just see what's going on. That's just rebooted, which is kind of normal. Okay, and going to the digital TV signal, so basically Freeview is not normal. That means that it's not displaying anything. Let's just take a look. And yep, we don't have any availability on the sources list. So HDMI 3 isn't working, and I also have HDMI 2 as well. I'm not sure which cable's which, to be honest, but it should come up with PlayStation 5 in the sources list, and it's not. So that's telling me that we don't have any kind of video signal. I'm going to try my other HDMI cable. So I've got two. One of them is a little bit faulty, but it's always worth having a backup. And yep, no signal through either cable on HDMI 2 or HDMI 3. So absolutely nothing going on there at all, apart from the bad hair day, but never mind. Let's take it apart and let's see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to shut it down, press and hold the power button, because that's not what the last shop did. Looks like they just yanked out the cable, which is why it rebooted it, because it was coming up checking system storage, or whatever it comes up on the PlayStation 5. So we're going to wait for that to stop flashing, we're going to wait for the lights to go off, and then we're going to unplug it. So one thing I will say is this could end up getting costly for the customer. And the reason for that is because if this is, let's say for example, a repair shop screw up where they've torn traces or something like that, then the customer would have to pay for trace repair. If it's a worst case scenario where we have a damaged HDMI encoder, you can't buy those chips. You cannot buy those chips. I do have a couple, but only because I've got donor boards. So it's going to get costly for the customer if it's the HDMI encoder. So let's take it apart and let's see if we can figure it out, shall we? Start off by just taking off the base, or the top case rather. The problem with these things is they are just so bulky. They are just unnecessarily bulky. One of the annoying things about the PS5, they're heavy, they're bulky, they've got way too many screws, and the parts are not available for them. So it's either we take donor parts from donor boards, which I am lucky enough to have a couple, and I've had them since pretty much day one, because I managed to obtain a couple of repair shop screw-ups. So, sorry, no, one of them was a repair shop screw-up, one of them I dissected and destroyed for science. I had a bit of fun and got a little bit carried away on a live stream, and hence the donor board was born. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to get these screws out. There's well over 60 screws in total, so as you can imagine it's going to take me a while. So I'm not going to go through this process on camera, because otherwise we'll be here all day, and I need to keep these videos as short as I possibly can, which is not easy. So I'm going to take this apart and I'll fast forward through, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, one thing I'll say before I actually go ahead and do that: why is there a silver screw where the fan screw is meant to be? That's meant to be a tiny black screw, not a silver screw. That's meant to go, in fact, nowhere. Never seen those screws before. Those screws don't exist on a PS5. Beautiful. Well, that's a good start, I guess. What is all this on here? How does this happen? Wow. Wow. There's that missing black screw. All I'm going to say to that is, lol. Really? Come on, what the hell? Why would you put Captain Tape there? Serious? Alright. Okay. Well, I'll see something straight away. I see mesh straight away. This is a repair shop screw up. Yeah. Yeah, that looks a mess. It's not the worst I've seen. I must admit, it's not the worst I've seen. And I guess that's not necessarily a good thing either. But it's not the worst I've seen. Alright, well, first step is I've got to get this Captain Tape off here. Really not sure why you would put Captain Tape on a ground plane, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Number one, Captain Tape is not heat proof, it's heat resistant. Or heat reflective, rather. It just reflects a little bit of heat. I'm not sure why anyone would ever put that there. Now, a lot of people always ask me to name the repair shops that mess these up, and I honestly can't, because I don't know who it is, unfortunately, and I'll probably never know. Okay, let's get the Captain Tape off the back as well. Nice shiny joints on those ground legs though, I must admit. And at least I'm using the good quality Captain Tape and not the cheap stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to look for the positives, okay? I'm trying to look for the positives. Let's get this HDMI port off, shall we? So I'm going to set my hot air to 460 degrees Celsius. And look at that diode. Oh, wonky donkey. Yeah, this is a mess. I'll tell you what, let's do a nudge test on these pins first and foremost. So I'm going to be changing this port. I'm not going to be keeping this original port on. Let's do a nudge test on these. Let's see what's going on. Not connected. Not connected. Not connected. Oh, connected. Oh, no. Sorry, no. Okay, here's what I don't understand. Now, I'm not gonna use the word capable here. But if someone is able to run a jumper wire, because let's face it, these traces are weak as hell. Like, these traces on this PS5, that suck. Okay, so I'm not gonna slate the technician for that, because these traces on these ports, they suck, and when these ports break, they break in spectacular fashion. When someone is capable, or when someone is able to run a jumper wire, why would they not check all these pins? Look, you can clearly see Okay, yes, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to admit it's not the best job. Like, the soldering on these, not great, right? Ground leg, I can let that slide, it needs more heat. These, well, yeah, you can see just how bad those actually are. Like, they're going to break, right? Not the greatest job, but they are connected. Or some of them anyway. So you can see the solder on these. And you can see there's no solder on these. So why would you not check this if you can clearly see that there's no solder on the port? I think we found our problem. Hopefully we've found our problem. I'm not going to say we have, but hopefully. That diode doesn't look good as well, that A6. Doesn't look great. So I'm going to be testing that in a minute. But first and foremost, I want to get this port off. So I'm going to melt the shizzle out of this. Remember, I'm not reusing this port, which means I don't care about it. There we go. Say bye-bye. Okay. Next step before I do anything else is going to be to get rid of these ground holes, or the solder in them. Solder from the ground pads removed. What I'm going to do now is just clean up this area using some isopropyl alcohol. Just like that. Let's go over it once more. Just try and get rid of some of this burnt flux off the top. Not important, but I would rather clean it. Okie doke, and there we go. Beautiful. Okay, so the next step is going to be to try and sort out this pad, because that pad where a jumper wire has been, quote, run to is not good for anything. Not as it stands. It's not good for anything. So I'm going to have to try and fix that up a little bit. I'm just going to scrape that back a little bit. Just a tad. Okay, and then I'm going to re-tin it along with the rest of the pins, or pads rather. I'm going to re-tin that along with the rest of the pads, and then we should have some nice joints to solder to. The key word there, of course, is should. So let's get some solder on the iron and run the solder across. Being sure to fill that via in. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Nice shiny pads. Alright, next step is going to be to get a new port. Brand spanking new, of course. So the reason I don't use the other port is because I don't have a clue what's happened to that port. I don't know if it's had internal damage, which is possible. So it could have had internal damage, it could have basically been bent up and stuff. You never know. So I don't reuse them. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to push down on the port and just press on the pin. So I'm going to solder a few of the pins just to make sure that we've got a nice contact. I'm not bothered if I get any bridges or anything like that. Not right now. I just want to make sure that the port is going to stay in place if I flip the board over. Because what I want to do is basically solder the ground legs in so as it's secure. So as I know that the port is secure and that it's lined up properly. So solder a couple of the pins first on the front, and then I know it's going to be lined up when I solder the back. So now I can solder these ground legs, just making sure that I can feel the pins fully through the board, and I can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some leaded solder, but at the same time I'm going to be using some hot air, so as I can make sure that the solder pushes through. So I'm going to add some solder first, and then I'm going to come back in with the iron, and I'm going to make sure that enough solder pushes through the port to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I actually did a warranty job earlier where there wasn't enough solder pushed through the pins, which was my fault, and the port came off, or rather the port lifted off the board, which was my fault. I am releasing a video on that as well. I did cover it, so I will be probably releasing that video before this one. Okay. And now I'm going to use some hot air, and I'm going to make sure that the solder goes all the way through. There we go. I did just do the other side as well, but it was slightly out of view, so my bad on that. I did just do the other side as well. Now, because I've blasted the flux away, I'm going to run over it once more, just to get those joints nice and shiny again. Just like that. Perfect. Alright. And the port is still lined up. Beautiful. Alright. So, now what I want to do is just solder the rest of these pins. All bar that one that's damaged. So like I said, I'm not going to hold the other technician responsible for that, because they are weak as hell, these pins. Same as that missing capacitor on pin 17 and 18 as well. It's not required, and it does generally tend to come off with the port, or when you run the iron over it. You can see here I'm just using the drag method. Just drag it all to one side, and then I can take some wick and just remove that excess. I don't usually like to remove it with wick, but there's a little bit too much excess there to just drag it off with the iron. So I'll wick it away, just make my life a little bit easier. Alright, so I'll do each pin one by one again now. And there we go. Alright, so next it's going to be jumper wire time. So what I need to do is just run a jumper wire from the pin to the trace where it's meant to connect to, because there's nowhere for that pin to solder to. So I'm going to count them. So we've got into wire number 5, and that's going to be this pin here. Let's just tin the edge of that wire. And just tap it down just to keep it in place. Just while I come in with the soldering iron and the tweezers. Whoops. Alright, there's a little bit too much burnt flux there. Let's just clean it up. So burnt flux is going to stop me being able to solder it at all. So I may as well just replace the flux. Alright. Add some flux there. Some fresh flux, that is. And there we go. Now I should be able to solder it. If you're struggling with this kind of thing, then generally you just either need to replace the flux or add more. I think I might have caused a bridge there. I've had to move that. Okay. So that should be that done. Now I just need to fix the bridge and clean up. Alright. Let's just trim the wire at the end instead of leaving a big overhang like there was. Then I'm going to melt the flux. And then I can clean it up. Let's dry that off. And that looks good. But we're not going for looks good. We are going for confirmation. So let's check every pin one by one. Excellent. So they're all connected. Now the question is, do we have any bridges that we can't see with the eye? So I'm going to use the meter in continuity mode because that doesn't need vision. And I'm going to test every single pin to the pin next to it. Make sure we don't have any bridge. Excellent. No bridges. So now I'm just going to quickly test this diode because I didn't like the look of it. So I'm going to put the red probe on ground and the black probe on the left hand side of this diode. Just here. And we get a reading of 0.638. And with the lead flipped, we get open line, which is perfect. Okay, that is good. That port is soldered, and as long as nothing else is wrong, we should get a display. Okay, so the jumper wire I used for that is 0.17 millimeters in diameter, and I take that stuff from microwaves. I take it from the little fan that's on the side of a microwave. I do have a video on the channel for it if you're wondering how to actually obtain it. That's probably enough to last me a lifetime, to be honest, on that spool. Alright, so the next step is going to be to just sort out this liquid metal. So the good thing about liquid metal is you can technically reuse it. However, there's not quite enough on there. So I'll just spread a little bit of it around and then also add some as well. Whoops. Alright, so that wasn't meant to happen. So it's very important, if you spill liquid metal, it is very, very important that you get rid of it. Because not only is it conductive, but it will also eat away at the board. So do not leave liquid metal on that board. Under any circumstances, do not leave liquid metal where it shouldn't belong. It will definitely eat away at the board. It definitely does not belong there. Alright, so I'm going to inspect that under the microscope, make sure I've got it all off. I'll talk about repair shop screw-ups and then I'll do it myself. Yep, that was all off. That's cool. Now, the difference between a screw-up and just a simple mistake is whether you're able to rectify it immediately or if you actually even notice what you've done wrong. So, yeah, it's all dependent on the situation. So I've just spread that out on this side as well, but there's probably too much, so I know I'm technically adding some there. The reason for that is so as I can close the liquid metal syringe so I can suck it back up, because with the additional liquid metal that's on the APU side, there's far too much. But you can suck it back up and reuse it. Group that up and suck it up. There we go. So you only want enough on the heatsink side to be able to bond with the liquid metal that's on the APU. So you don't want too much. There we go. And that should be perfect. So let's just flip this around. Drop it into place. And actually no, let's not. Let's not do that, because I haven't cleaned the back. Okay, so it's going to be isopropyl alcohol time again. And I may as well just clean this part once more, just to make sure it's clean. Again, like I said, I don't want to leave flux on the board. I don't want to leave anything on the board that shouldn't be there. That includes flux. Okay, so I'm going to get this back together enough just to give it a test. I don't want to be putting this back together all the way, and the reason for that is because there's just far too many screws. There are far too many screws to put this fully back together in order to test it. And there we go. That is ready to give it a test. So let's just pop in a HDMI cable here. Nice and solid. Power cable. Let's turn it on. Okay, we get a blue light. Let's turn on the TV. Do we get a display? What HDMI are we on? I don't know. Okay, we're on HDMI 3. PlayStation 5. There we go. Yes. We did it. Well, I did it. You sat there and watched. Thanks for the help. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, there we go. We get a display. Fantastic. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much that for the video. I'm trying to make these videos a little bit shorter. I'm doing a little bit of an experiment on video lengths and viewer retention, things like that. So yeah, there we go. The console was sent to another repair shop because it obviously had a broken HDMI. They have messed it up a little bit. It's not the worst I've seen, I'm going to be honest. Definitely not the worst I've seen from other repair shops. so I'm not gonna make out like it is. Yeah, most of the pins wasn't soldered, and that's that. Not sure why they put Kapton tape on it either, to be honest. Not a clue. But it is what it is, and obviously now that the console's been on the bench, we managed to figure it out, managed to get it working, and hopefully this console is going to last. So that's going to be for the video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I do always genuinely enjoy reading people's comments. I really do. I really enjoy reading people's comments, and I enjoy replying to them as well. It's quite interesting to hear what people think. So let me know what you think down in the comments down below, and I will do my best to reply to them. I don't always get the chance to reply to them all, but I do my best with it. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to organise your own repair, then you can do so by using the website address in the video description. And you can either book it in through the website by going to the booking page. You can view the price lists, or you can get in touch for a custom quote if the price for your specific problem isn't there. I don't just work on consoles. I do other stuff too. Ha, I said do. That's pretty funny. Anyway, I'm tired and childish, so there we go. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by becoming a Patreon member using the Patreon link in the video description. You can become a channel member using the join button just down below the video, or you can head over to Twitch, link over your Twitch Prime account, or link over your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and become a paid subscriber that way as well. And that all helps the channel out. It helps me to continue making these videos. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I genuinely appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now. I said do.